Hello, everybody. How are you doing today?
Woo!
Hi.
Wow.
Hello.
Hi.
Thin ice, Apollo. I'm on to you. Oh, don't you love it when people talk while you're doing the countdown and then make weird noises? Guys, the Mist is here. I hope you're excited for the Mists of Rule, Episode 1, where I, your humble dungeon master, who is also kind, fair, impartial, and brilliant. Just checking the reactions.
We are listening. Yeah, you can tell when we're listening.
I'm listening.
Are here to torture my 4 players, featuring Apollo_Nick, Andy, some guy we found on the streets of Seattle, Brian, as well as our good buddy, friend of the stream, Coffee Traveler, also known as Eric, also known as a certifiable glass eater in real life. I watched this man eat a beer bottle. It was horrifying, but also enthralling. Guys, how have you been?
How do I graduate from Seattle street person to friend of the stream?
Be on the stream more, I suppose.
Show up on time.
Oh, that's
I didn't show up on time.
I'm joking.
God,
It
maybe
was
you
5
should put
minutes
that
early.
baby cam for your dog next to a clock instead. Jesus Christ, Andy. Apollo's just blowing you out of the water.
Wow.
To be
Apollo
fair,
can only afford thin ice in this economy, so you know.
True.
It's true.
What are you gonna do?
Guys, I want to thank...
There's eggs and Ford stuff.
Oh my god, his mic cut out through that. Oh no.
Well, we'll never know what he said.
True. I want to take a quick moment to thank Apollo_Nick for making these little GIF images that you see on the screen. Designating character classes. We have a little bottle of Mountain Dew next to the name Arturio, who we'll get to in a moment. We've got a weird tentacle sword for Eric. We've got a... I believe that is literally a RuneScape rune for Brian. And then we have a spinning knife, which reminds me of a game system that we're not talking about. Eric got it. Fuck you, Eric.
Is that blade in darkness or
I
next
think
to
it's
a
called
clock?
like Knives in the Shadows or something.
Oh, Mace is in the light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the one.
Normally, I would go over how everyone's week is, but we're a little bit late and I'm wanting to get into it. So if you guys are ready to start, I'm ready to start.
We'll air our week's grievances as the stream progresses.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear.
We're gonna let real life seep into the fiction. Which was rule number 2 that of things we shouldn't talk about.
Yep.
Do we need a moment? Do we need to get the jitterbugs out of the way?
I'm good.
The slightest.
I'm
Set the
good.
stage.
Just gloss,
Bring it.
John. Like that didn't happen. We're just gonna gloss.
We're
We're
just gonna
vamping.
gloss. All
yeah.
right.
Every time you choose to interact, it's a bad choice. So just
Well-
gloss right over it. You're good.
Apollo wants to say something, so I'm gonna let him get it off his chest now. Go for it, Apollo.
What, I wanted to say something?
Yeah. Clearly.
Well, No, I'm just goofing. I'm
We don't
just
have
full
fun
of goofs and
here.
gags. Oh, I'm sorry.
This is the torture chamber for a reason. All right,
Oh,
Apollo.
pardon me. Ow, that hurts. Oh no, stop.
Thank you. Now I'm immersed, guys. Oh! Party. Friends! Countrymen! Question mark? Unless one of you is a secret Canadian.
John, I live in South Canada. Like, of course I'm a secret Canadian. I played curling for 5 years.
Unbelievable.
It's not much of a
Unreal
secret,
here.
really. But, yeah.
Why don't we get started?
Let's.
Party. It is October 25th, of the year 1351 of the Third Age on the planet known as Eos. You are surrounded by impenetrable mist, only able to see 40 to 50 feet in front of you, as you all inhabit a tiny barge on a very still river. A single ferryman is using a pole to push you up against the current. Despite this Herculean task, he makes it seem easy to those of you who have never worked a day in your life. Thick pine tree forests surround the flanks of this river. You all are hugging the eastern bank, heading north. These pine trees are ancient. They have been locked in a war to steal the sunlight from each other before humans existed. Their branches blot out the sun were you under them. But here in the mist, they act like giants standing over you. Finally, the water is barely rippling as this ferryman pushes a pole through it and moves the barge several feet up against the current. And one of you is staring at your reflection within this water. Arturio, who is it that we see? Or who do you see?
That is a great question. In the reflection of the water, we see a human academic, a young adult male, late 20s, early 30s, who has a well-kempt facial hair, short beard, very neat hair. He has some jewelry that he's wearing, and some insignias on his academic robes that would indicate that he is well learned in many different facets of academia. And he is not pleased with how humid it is. So he is looking at the water with a little bit of disgust.
With disgust on your face, sweat on your brow, your nasal cavity truly open to the moisture, I have but a single question for you. Who on this craft has gained your ire the most throughout this journey to a dingy little settlement called Rule?
That is difficult to say without having heard anything about the other characters. But I would imagine Terrence a little bit. A man of the cloth, or so Arturio believes at this point, who might have proselytized him a little too much, or said something that rubbed me the wrong way, and is not really interested in making friends with a man who isn't relying on what he can see, what he can touch, what he can test. Arturio is a man of logic, and Terrence doesn't seem to be, at least not so far.
That's incredible, and I'm very glad to hear this. And I want you, Brian, who is playing Terrence, to keep that in mind. Because I'm going to be...
I could be completely wrong. I could be very wrong, I'm just saying.
You're 100% right. You've introduced this. This is what's happening.
Okay.
Next up in the, or probably close to the center of the boat, afraid of going near the water, for as any good dwarf knows, the moment you touch the surface, you sink like a brick. Perhaps clad in some sort of light armor, undoubtedly having a martial weapon at hand, stands Ramul, the dwarf. Ramul, I want to know, what do the other characters on this boat see? And also a follow-up question. But first, tell us who Ramul is.
Ramul Goldenblade of the Goldenblade faction. They believe in money and violence solves most problems. And if you can't solve it with money or violence, why are we even talking about it? Because you can. Like, let me be very clear. There are no problems that can't be solved with money or violence. So, that's how Ramul solves most of his problems. And to twerk on your question for that you gave to Apollo Nick a little bit here, I look at Apollo Nick's character and see that not a single day's labor or violence has ever touched this person's, like, you see their soft hands, their soft face with no scarring on it. Because my character basically has, you know how like boxers get cauliflower ear because their cartilage on their ear never repairs itself after like fighting too much? I got like cauliflower face, okay? Like it's bad, okay? Like there are scars, there's places where the hair doesn't grow anymore because you have like scarring. This man is a man of means and of violence, so he comes at it very honestly and doesn't bother washing off his armor or anything. You can see that there's just like, that's my work that you see there. Except for when it comes to his weapons. Those weapons are pristinely polished, right? These are our tools, right? And if you don't keep your tools clean, you can't imagine doing good work. So that's who you see standing in astutely in the middle of the boat, making sure that no one's sneaking up on him. We're standing next to the mast. There's like, maybe there's someone up there or not, but yeah, back to a wall. I'm ready. I'm ready to fight.
Ramul, I have but a single question for you, and you need not answer it, but I want you to keep this in mind going forward. What did you sacrifice for the pact you have made?
The pact that was made, and this was made in a dream-like state, over a chessboard, and I'm not one for chess or as a general idea, but I'm also not one for backing down. So when I was challenged to a game of chess by an eldritch horror beyond imagination, of course we say yes to this. And I had to sacrifice my queen, John. She must have been sacrificed, so...
Very interesting.
We will have to get into more of that as we go forward, but my queen has been sacrificed.
Understood. Next up, Rye. Smile.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Avoiding the gaze of your half-brother, this mist must be one of gloomy comfort. It is not nearly as good a screen as the teeming masses of a city worth of pickpockets to you. But there is comfort in knowing that all you have to do to escape any fight is just run 50 feet away from whatever is attacking you. This mist is an immediate tactical advantage you sense. It will be incredibly easy to sneak away from your half-brother, that piece of shit, who keeps looking at himself in the water, has been lost in his gaze for, God, it's been at least 50 minutes now. Rye, you feel contempt. But what else do you feel?
I feel an acute awareness of how many pockets on my half-brother's cloak are accessible to being picked at this moment, while he is absorbed in his own reflection. And while I ponder everyone's, pickable wealth, on the barge, am casually, dexterously rolling a coin across my hands, and every time that the polished face reflects my own, I see the jarring scar across my mouth from a years ago incident with a local gang tough.
Gang
Who,
tough. The jester.
yeah. Yes, for whom Rye owed some debts and was given a eldritch root canal for not paying them on time. So he can have a bit of an off-putting look.
An eldritch root canal.
One might compare him to Jimmy Simpson, who you would know as Liam McPoyle, or William from Westworld. And he's a handsome guy, but he's got a real off-putting smile in the poorly recovered scar of his run-in, and he's comfortably just sitting on top of the wheelhouse, looking at the different passengers and where their valuables might be.
Always keeping an eye on the things that are important. Rye, you look to a man named Terrence, who has gotten on the, I don't know, not bad side per se, annoyance of your half-brother, Arturio. Terrence, you undoubtedly stand quite bold with regal posture, having been a trained swordsman all of your life. You, the noble warrior, the paladin. Do you have a tabard on? Was a coat of arms, maybe? Paladin order? What's going on? What do you look like?
I believe that I do, John.
Mm.
I have to decide on what that tabard would be. I do kind of like the symbol that Apollo has created for me. So I think that is sitting on the front of my tabard. Underneath it is, I believe, a laurel that is intertwined around the bottom of it. I'm not sure what that's going to mean yet, but I like it.
Terrence. Oh, Terrence. I have so many questions for you. However, some feel like bullying because I, John DM, did not give you enough prep time and sort of sprung some questions on you. So I'm going to hold back on some of them. And instead focus on what is your greatest hope for this quest you're on. You all have heard tale that a prince out here in the sticks is offering people 1,000 gold to solve the town's issues. But surely wealth isn't on your mind.
The wealth is only a means to an end, John. This is my chance to prove myself. I need to show that I am the leader that I know that I am. I need to show that my training has been for a purpose. I have ruffians and a scholarly doofus behind me who can't understand why the answer's in the mist in front of us. I can clearly see it. He can't see shit. It's out there, John. I know, because my faith gives that to me. It gives me that hope and that purpose that here is where I make my mark, my stand, and gain my recognition.
Thinking of recognition, of the honor and glory to gain, seeking out some magical killer out here so far away. No roads connect this town to the rest of this country, this kingdom of blades. This river is your one way in and out of this town that is slowly coming into view as the wind changes. It grows suddenly cold as you start to see the hints of a grand warehouse, of several shacks that line the shore, of a dock/jetty connected to a fishery, and then a little ways away, a red tiled inn. This inn stands 3 stories tall, plus an attic, and has a relatively strange sign of a daffodil flower, which is far shinier than what you were expecting. John has brought us to a new map, and he's going to show off Rule. Welcome to Rule, everyone. I have made some
Thank you.
little notes for you all, just as little keystones. As your barge comes to a halt, John is going to change the music. The bargeman will give you all a polite half bow. Your passage already paid for by the prince named Ludwig, who you all signed up to come and help. In fact, this is basically an all-expense-paid vacation, if you wish to call it that, out here in the sticks. However, there is only one person standing to greet you. A woman in her late 40s with a big ol' happy smile on her face. Her eyes almost crescent in their squinting scrutinization of you four. As you take a step off the relatively smooth ride that this barge was, immediately, Ramul, you almost go straight through a rickety board whose rusty nails snap upon resisting your weight. For those of you used to violence, there is even a rust in the air that feels like blood has been spilled and now lingers in this mist. The woman calls out, "Adventurers! At last you've come! The Prince Ludwig has been expecting you for quite some time! My name is Hilary Hodgers, your host for the time you're with us, or until you leave us. Please, right this way." And she will point, gesture, arm extends out to her inn.
Well met, Hilary. Come, friends. Let us go.
I turn to the bargeman before I leave. What do you know about Hillary? Or this place, really?
Give me a perception check as you watch this man not even take a step foot off his barge and is instead putting his stick into the mud to slowly kick off from the jetty.
Sure. 18?
On an 18, a beautiful 18, you will hear the whispered words of the bargemen that simply call out, "Don't drink the water she gave you."
Water? Oh, never touch the stuff. Thank you. I wave off to him and follow my party.
There is a tipping of a hat as the bargeman pushes off, undoubtedly going to find a suitable place to truly hitch his craft.
I toss him a coin by way of tip for his journey that I stole out of his pocket earlier.
Okay. That you stole from him. You give him back the money you stole. Very cute.
Well, at least he's not giving it back to him over his own eyes, you know?
True.
It's like a Charon-esque bargeman.
That comes later, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Terrence is already heading with Hillary Hodgers, who offers to help in the transportation of luggage. What was your question, Terrence, before I got distracted?
Oh, I didn't ask a question. I just beckoned everybody to come. Terrence will carry his own luggage. If Hillary offers to help, she can help somebody else.
You must be the paladin. Lord Terrence?
No, ma'am. I do not have a title.
Unfortunate. Who knows? Maybe you will be able to buy one if you are successful here.
Perhaps I will earn one.
Perhaps. Ramul and Rai trailing last. Arturio, what are you doing as you take a step off the barge and onto this strange island?
Arturio is kind of surveying the area. He is not used to such primitive living and less refined environs. So I think he is just kind of taking it in as he's kind of slowly following behind Terrence and is just kind of mentally preparing himself for, the kind of living conditions he'll have to deal with on this short journey that he believes he's on.
Yes.
This short job.
Arturio, it's hard not to stick your nose into the air as you bypass several shacks that are clearly made by the same man or carpenter team who made the same shack at least 30 different times. And that's just the ones you see in view. I don't want to call them hovels. For Arturio, you don't know what a hovel is, but you do know what a shack looks like, and we are in that territory, certainly. Party. Hillary Hodgers leads you to her inn, known as the Dandy Daffodil. After opening the door, she will point out the quaint living conditions here. There is a great big bar, a large common room, and then a man who looks gruff and tumbly, but also incredibly fat, showing his great significance of wealth and portliness. He's huge. But also, his name is Hogan. Hogan greets you. Oh! If it isn't the adventurers! Greetings! I am Hogan, the proprietor of the Dandy Daffodil. You must be tired. Come in.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, you are a sight for sore eyes. We have not had any travelers or anyone come into our village for, I wish to say, over 2 months now. Hopefully you will not leave like the rest of them.
The rest of them, you said?
Yes. Several, how should we say, overconfident mystery seekers came hearing about the bounty. A bard most recently, who's now disappeared, unfortunately. Yes.
Well, we are certainly motivated by the fine reward that the prince has posted. And you'll find that we have far more brains and brawn and metal than anyone else who has come. Certainly there will be time to hear more about the disappearances and what else others have learned. But for now, I could use a warm drink.
Yes. Would you like our mineral water? It's a specialty here.
Oh. Healing properties?
Yes.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Thank you.
No problem. I need to sneeze so bad.
Oh,
No, it's go. Oh, John's not roleplaying, but he's so immersed.
Take this handkerchief.
he thanks you. Oh my god, that actually hurt my face, guys.
You could force the issue by grinding some black pepper.
You can buy pepper. We haven't seen pepper in years. Do you have any?
Oh, I just assumed that with the accommodations there'd be... Please tell me you have salt.
Oh, yes. Of course we have salt.
Okay.
Ground salt. From the swamp.
Yes. Where did you say that mineral water was from?
Here. We make it ourselves.
Yeah, how? I'm
Do you have anything fermented?
Yes, of course. We have all kinds of... Alright, we have one kind of drink, he states. Not very
Fermented
boldly.
mineral water that we make here.
We have mineral water, which is for our non-drinking crowd, but also a hard cider, which we honestly, everything else was drinking a while ago, and it's kind of the only thing left. We haven't had our shipment in, and he checks, how long has it been, Hillary? She's like, ever since the murders started.
Murders.
Yes.
there
Deaths,
murders?
killings, whatever you wish to call them.
Yes. I'll just have a glass of whatever's the most sterile thing you can serve me.
Sterile. He will go and get you very hot water. Free on the house. It's
I'll take
almost tea if we had
mineral
any
water.
tea leaves.
I'll take the glass of the mineral water. I wouldn't want to deplete your stores of cider.
Would
Without
you like
anyone.
it cold or hot?
Cold, please.
Oh, of course. You will get the most muggy, like 60-degree Fahrenheit drink in the world. There's no refrigeration, they don't have ice, and it is a hot fall. This is bottled, but it has clearly been, like, there's still a little bit taste of the old cider that used to be in this bottle. They're clearly recycling the same glassware over and over again. He just hands it to you. Just free of charge, paid for by the Prince Ludwig. I'm sure
Well,
you'll
then,
speak
to
with
the
him
Prince's honor.
before you...
And I will choke some down.
Yeah, for fun, give me a Constitution saving throw. Just to see.
Sure.
Just to, like, taste all of the delicious mineral... Oh my god, it's like eating chalk. It's like Tums crushed up inside and then forced into, like, an apple-flavored water bottle. It's disgusting.
I will attempt to not throw it back up and say, a unique flavor.
Yes, it's... You know, water is not normally described as chewy, but we here in the Dandy Daffodil believe that anything can have some grit to it if you're dedicated enough.
Sure, it puts hair on your back. And I'll take
That's
another
one
sip
thing it does.
and not be rude.
He looks to Ramul and then Rye, the quiet, studious pair.
Yeah, I've been looking around the room, eyeing up anyone else who's in here, because I'm, I was worried about the first plank, and now everything is like could jump out at me at any moment. Oh, paranoia busting into my head.
Ramul, it is you and the proprietors here. It's quite literally just the two Hodgers. I mean, there's a stuffed head of an elk that's staring awkwardly down upon you, but it's like a hunting trophy. It's also like aged, and in this humidity, it's not aged well. There's an empty
like
fireplace. There's not even a fire going. This place is drafty, humid. There's a layer of moisture. You're fairly certain mold is growing in places it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
This place has seen
My
better
question to the proprietor then is, how many people still live here if you are running out of resources and other things? It seems
Oh,
like this
at
town is
least a
running out
dozen.
of time. Interesting.
days. Yes. Our
Have you
settlement
thought
used to
about-
be over 500 in number. But these past 2 months have... Well, anyone with a means to get out has taken it. And I don't blame them. Would you like a
You know
hot
means,
potato?
or you...
I'm sorry, what was that, young man?
I apologize. You said everyone who has means to leave has left. You know means, or are you banking on the town coming back?
Ha 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 ho! Would you like a sweet potato?
Sure. Thank you.
He'll hand you an uncooked yam.
Excellent.
Is that this place's version of a Werther's original?
Rye has eaten 3-day-old moldy bread from the gutter outside the slaughterhouse and been happy to eat something, so I think he can handle a raw sweet potato.
It's a yam.
He breaks off a piece and just starts munching.
It's a yam.
You're a yam.
He stares at you as you take a bite into the great big tuber, and then looks to the rest of you. There was a question somebody asked me, and I entirely forgot. You'll have to forgive me. It's a fey mood we're all in.
I don't mean to be rude. I was simply curious about the nature of some of the things you said about the previous mystery goers going missing, about the
Yeah.
deaths. I again, we only just arrived. I don't mean to be rude, and jump the crossbow, so to speak. I just, at some point, it would be great to get more information about that, but of course, no need to rush. You're already being so welcoming. Your hospitality is much appreciated.
Of course. I wish to help you. You four are our town's hope.
Well, then maybe we shouldn't wait. Best to get the town back on its feet as soon as possible.
Strike while the iron is hot, as they say.
Yes. Speaking of, it is quite cold here. Are there any blankets?
None that don't have mold on them.
I was afraid you'd say that.
We can create a fire if you'd like.
Certainly. That would be fantastic.
Hillary! Hillary's already gone. You hear her in the back. Not of the house, but like out back, chopping firewood. She'll be back. Nope.
I make my way. Is there seating? I make my way to a
Yeah.
chair.
You sit up at the bar next to this guy who's either offering you hard cider or mineral water. It's up to you. Either way, it's not...
I'll take.
Go for it.
Oh, I was gonna say I'll take a cider to wash down this delicious raw yam.
It's viscous. It's super, super gross. There's a heavy, almost molasses taste to it. There is faint apple taste, though, which is nice. Romola,
Delightful.
anything you're doing?
One of the things that's going through Ramul's head is that if there are only 12 to 20 people who are living in the town and he has very little food or drink to offer, how is he keeping up his what is his training regimen? His like great girth. It's like interesting to Ramul as I am eyeing up what could be an opponent at some point. So I'm concerned that and anyone of means is somebody who would be able to have such gluttony in their life. So this man just strikes me as somebody of means and somebody who is probably a liar. But I have nothing to, pin on that. That's just the gears are turning in Ramul's head. Like, this is weird. I will stand closely behind. Andy, what's your character's name again? Brain is like
Rye.
working. I'm gonna stand like kind of near-ish Rye, as if to be a somewhat protector or whatever, because we haven't really butted heads all that much, and he's definitely not an enemy, and he's seen hard times. I can tell that this man has seen hard times, so buddy with Rye a little bit.
I offer you the cider bottle.
Thank you. I have many thoughts, but yes, no, thank you.
After chatting for a little while, Hillary comes back, and almost expertly, we'll call it, she quickly builds a fire inside the fireplace. All of you hear the spark of a flint and steel striking into kindling. Flames take off. Suddenly, it is far warmer in here than any of you were expecting. It's almost as if you've entered a sauna in a way, as the mist from outside begins to dissipate from, well, the interior of this place. As some of you take off layers to just deal with the constant sweat coming from the humidity. This man, Hogan, is an open book. He will tell you anything you wish to know. And we can do this in character or hand wave some things, whatever you guys want.
Terrence will turn to Hogan and say, "What can you tell me of the murders?"
Oh, the deaths, yes, they're quite gruesome in nature. Oh, I believe there were over 24 at the very least. Unless you count animals, in which case there were several hundred. Yes.
What is killing animals and people in such vast numbers?
You hear in the back Hillary let out a It's not what? It's how?
Please, do tell. How?
Do tell, yeah.
Hillary will be by her husband. Just a failed stuttering stop. What are you doing? And then Hogan will say, it's quite gruesome, I must tell you. The bodies of the animals were brutalized. Cows, broken bones, hit with some sort of object. At first we thought it was like the town drunk getting lucky against a bovine and just beating them in a senseless rage, but we found him and questioned him, and then a few days later he was next, so we assumed he wasn't the culprit. The bodies that I saw, at least, were all very similar in nature. Crushed bones, battered bodies. The prince could tell you more. He is the most expert in violence here.
When did these murders start?
August, yes. Our oxen who used to pull the carts of lumber were the first victims, I suppose, followed by our pigs. We had an attempted farm here once, and which got turned into a ranch, and you know, all the smaller livestock were consumed after the bigger ones were unsalvageable.
Did this eat the livestock or just kill it?
No. This was done by no beast, at the very least. We know that. No bite marks, no eviscerations. I mean, there was gore in some cases, but it's more like it oozed out of their bodies from their bones puncturing their flesh. It's quite graphic, I must warn you. YouTube.
Do you know why the prince wants to save the town over abandoning this area completely?
It is his duty. This is his land.
And how long has the prince occupied these lands? Was he the founder of this
Yes.
settlement? I
We
see.
set up last spring. So it's only been a few months. Yeah.
And has anyone bemoaned the situation here with the prince and the arrangements made of these lands, or so any squabbles, or perhaps any local folk tales that explain what is going on?
We built this township. There were no locals here. I mean, there was the odd monster, the goblinoid, but they're all murderous creatures. They're not ones to talk or share information.
Certainly.
Noble squabbles? No, definitely not. There are bigger fish to fry than a lumber camp set on a lazy river. If anything, our prince was undeserving of this station. You will understand when you meet him.
I'll kind of eye him a little bit. Not necessarily like accepting his words. I think given Arturio's place in society, he might in fact be wondering, like, who is this guy to say that about the prince? Prince he's talking about.
With this forest being so old and so ancient, and putting your town here at this location, wouldn't that potentially disrupt the ecosystem that is here? Like, is this some ancestral lands of somebody's that was
A
claimed? Was
dwarf
there a
that
town here
cares
before
about
you got here?
ecosystems. I thought I'd seen it all. I thought I saw it all. You learn something new every day, I suppose. But as to the delicate balance of it was just animals and goblinoids and other, beasts. This
Okay,
was
well,
a
it's not
normal
some-
place until August.
Yeah, not some smash and grab of ancestral homelands.
No ruins, no undead, at the very least. Thank goodness for there being no undead here. We thought this would just be a fine place to set up a lumber mill and,
How was the quality of the trees and the lumber?
Oh, they're fantastic. It's all aged pine. It's untouched forest. Our lumberjacks went hog wild. There were 400 lumberjacks here until, you know, the deaths.
Lumberjacks went hog wild. We're dealing with werepigs. No, I'm joking.
Man bear pig.
Not man, big, anyone but him.
Yeah, the thought that Rumel was having is that this is like somebody's ancestral lands, or you know, maybe Fey spirits are mad about this whole thing.
Maybe. We've heard all sorts of rumors. Or rather, everyone is seeking an answer. And that is why we hope you all will find the truth. For at this point, we don't have the strength nor will to find it ourselves.
We'll find it.
Well, we indeed, and with such hospitality, we'll have all the energy and hydration we'll need to do that.
Yes, take as many mineral water bottles as you'd like.
Certainly.
I toss Arturio a piece of the yam.
He fumbles it.
Just immediately.
I assume you fumble it as in, oh god, I don't know what that is, don't let it touch me, type of fumbling it.
Jesus.
I'm sure it
man
still has
never
dirt
saw
on it.
yam.
I cleanly catch it, look at it, and then pretend to fumble it.
Oh. Yeah.
Is there anything else I can offer you in terms of knowledge or...
Who is the carpenter who has made all of the... I mean, I don't want to call them shacks, because that's kind of rude to shacks, what I saw, but, you know,
These
places for
illustrious
people to
dwellings.
live.
Oh, yes, the first round of houses.
Yeah.
He looks at the big list of names that he totally knows immediately. It's likely one of Logar's men who... Well, one of the carpenters, I suppose. We only had a few, and none of them were artisans of great name or renown.
Well, call them what they are. They are wood butchers, but, you know, somebody's got to do some work, so we take what we can get.
Yes.
Are they the ones who built the glorious Dandy Daffodil?
No, this was a family operate. We imported the help to build this place. This was going to be the cornerstone for all merchant travel, and at the time it was. Man, we had a great summer until, you know, all the animals were brutalized. But, yes.
Don't worry, Hogan. It'll be that way again. In due time.
Hopefully.
When can we see the prince?
Whenever you want. All you must do is head over there. It's about a mile away. You can't really miss it. Just follow the road. I mean, you can see the great big fucking fortress. And he just points out the window past the pines to the tallest hill that overlooks this entire area. You can see the rickety palisades, the towers that are unmanned, and the pine trees that surround this great big hill. In the future, this might be a grand castle, maybe even a complex, but for right now, it is effectively a jank Mott and Bailey.
Well, I'm good to go. Anyone else need rest before we meet the prince? Very well.
Nope.
I do not tire. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay.
We'll head out.
You guys will head on out. But first, John's gonna drag your tokens onto this beautiful little map. Woo!
Lovely.
Oh, that's not your token, Terrence. Where's your token?
I don't know. I promise I have not messed with it.
Oh no, did I delete it?
No, and in the town, is the mist kind of kept at bay? Because you said we could see like all the way over to like
No,
the castle or
definitely not.
whatever. Okay.
The mist is not at bay at all. However, there is more wind flow here since the trees have been cleared a little bit. Meaning that the mist continues to blow and you can sort of see buildings bleeding into your periphery. Terrence, I need to find your art one more time. There you are.
There it is.
One time.
Terrence, Terrence, HP, dynamic lighting. You're a half elf, right?
Yes.
Alright, let's not give you miles of dark vision. How about we give you 60 feet instead? And then we will update your token, and just like that, we are...
We're in business.
I don't know if we are. What the fuck? It just...
What just happened?
I don't know.
That is so confusing. I've never seen that happen before.
Neither have I. I think I hit a button on accident. Come back here. Hello.
As Sean fixes this, and we start walking forward, exiting the Dandy Daffodil, I'll turn my head and ask, "Gentlemen, what are your initial impressions?"
How is there like no food in the town, and yet he is so large?
Sometimes he was human, John.
Yep.
Sometimes
Most people are.
that happens with humans. We don't bear
Only
our...
those of means have such girth, in my understanding. So, or he would have shed some of it in
Sometimes
these tight times.
sometimes girth, as you put it, can be artificially created with large amounts of ale.
I don't know.
If he's been
Seems
drinking that
weird.
mineral water, then he's not going to be gaining any weight. I can already feel my stomach rumbling.
As a little note, he did say they drank all the good stuff, and that was just what was left. So, if his diet is just consistent of beer for the most part, and whatever sort of root vegetable, it might not be surprising that he puts on a bunch of useless weight. That's just like rich in molasses, we'll call it.
If his diet consists of carbohydrates and sugar and nothing else, then yes,
Yeah.
probably will gain weight.
It's all the high fructose corn syrup in their drink.
We call it high fructose maize syrup here. Oh, we're cultured now. Party, you head on up to the great big hill that has been deforested considerably. In fact, this is the only place where the mist seems to coalesce at the bottom of the walls. The upper bit where there's a lot more wind flow and not really that many trees is sort of cleared. You see a great big manor house that, similarly to the Dandy Daffodil, is tiled rather than wooden shack. It seems that there was considerable effort and immediate effort put into this building. You will notice that the gates are open. The walls are unmanned. The towers are unmanned. And you know, that's normally a bad sign if you're heading up to see a prince. But when you get to the second gate, seeing how there is multiple elevation and layering defense, you will find that there is indeed two people standing outside the gate. And they both seem to recognize who you all are. One of them looks to be a lumberjack clad in a chain shirt with a great big great axe in his hands. The other one appears to be some sort of injured hunter who is staggering around with a long bow, as well as a bear trap dangling off his ass and belt. Oh!
Oh, like ready to use, not like his ass is like caught in a bear.
Attached to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just dragging it behind him like this.
You know,
Oh, I didn't know.
you get used to the pressure. Anyway, I guess this is the hunter's voice now. This great big lumberjack guy will call out to... You are the adventurers. Yes.
Hail, friend.
Yes.
We
Friend.
we are. We just arrived. We're
I
here
am
to see the prince.
Logar. Chief logger
Logar.
in this land. Owner
Logger?
of the sawmill. Yes.
Oh, I heard you were a carpenter.
No. I employ carpenters.
Logar the logger.
Yes.
I see.
My father was a prophet in a different life, I was told. He knew exactly what to name me to be phonetically.
Is his name Fothar?
How do you know my father's name?
Uh,
Are you a psychic?
sometimes. We're here to see the prince.
Come. Follow me. And he will take you to see the prince, leading you through the gate, and he will bang on a guard, actually dressed in the regal gambeson of a courtly sort, will open the gate, unbarring it, and lead you inside. There you will see a servant at the ready with a great big towel that is wrapped on his arm in case somebody is sweaty. You all look sweaty, so he doesn't offer the singular towel to any one of you.
I'll ask for a towel, seeing that there are some.
Once we are inside where it's cooler,
Oh, thank the gods.
come along.
I just lean forward and just blot my head on it while he's holding it.
Yeah. You can, like, feel the impulse that the servant has of just strangling you with the towel by the face, you know? You know, you've been hazed before by gangsters. Just towel to the face, wrap around, and... But Rai, aside from that traumatizing prophetic vision you just had, you will be led into the great big manor house of Prince Ludwig. It is a joyless, lifeless place that has a very empty entry hall. This place does not look moved in at all. Clearly the home of a bachelor lord. You see no sign of children nor of the finer courtly affairs. What you do see, however, is on the mantelpiece, right as you enter this grand, almost like dance floor sized hall, and then of course the stairwell which leads up to the second floor, you will find the largest red scale that you have ever seen before in your life. This thing is mounted on a plaque, and although the brasswork, which has like an inscription on it, is too tiny, too small, you'll immediately, any of you who are innately magical, which I suppose is all of you in a way, will just get a pulse of, like, significance. This thing is, like, maybe 4 foot wide, 3 feet long, jagged. It looks like it's been ripped out of a scaled beast. Yeah.
As someone who's led and been part of many successful break-ins to wealthy people's homes. Do I see any valuables or framed art that might conceal a strongbox?
Give me.
Andy is on it.
Give me an investigation check real quick, and while you guys will move through the house, we'll use that number to determine any secret stashes you might find.
Every single one of them has one.
You check every portrait. All these artworks, you know, they're cheap stuff. It'd be impossible to sell. Clearly, like, home heirlooms. And you, like, move all the things, but there's never, like, a hollow section behind a piece. You do find, however, one portrait that has its eyes pre-cut out, but there's no hidden passage, and you're like, what's the point? Like, clearly this was used somewhere else, brought here, and then nobody noticed the missing cutout pieces of the... And you get so fixated on this for a minute of, like, who would blunder this badly and not have a fake wall behind the portrait? Also, why is it just in a hallway? There's no strategic point of spying on someone in a hallway. You just exist in the same hallway as them and still understand who you're spying on. Just use your ears, bro. You use the creepy posters in people's bedrooms, obviously, Rye. Right?
Is that piece of art called the red herring?
Exactly, yes. It's just a big red bird that's just staring at people. Or a fish, I guess. Regardless.
Where did the eye holes go then? In the bird's eyes?
Just, yeah. It's like the Egyptian style portrait where the eye's always looking directly at you, you know?
Mm.
While you're looking around this, like, grand dance floor, the footman, the servant, will bring more towels to dry you off if you wish. Or at least get your vitals, you know, your necks, your back of your head. And then he will politely ask you to leave them in the bin beside the door when you're done with them. After a moment, you will understand what Hogan said about his lord. For as the limping figure who is using a longsword as a cane comes into view of the second floor looking down upon you, you will all feel the intense gaze of a man who's dedicated his life to committing harm onto creatures. He's young. He's 26, 27, but he is clearly accomplished. There is a barely restrained fury in his eye as he looks down upon you all. Greetings. I'm Ludwig.
I kneel.
I kneel as well.
I give a hearted, lowering of the head.
I like am gesturing and kind of reaching to Rye to try and pull him down.
I throw my gross towel at Art.
You two have a brotherly spat. He limps down the stairs, one at a time, painfully slow. Looks to Ramul, who doesn't bow nor need to. Ramul is a dwarf. He is not a part of this empire as a true citizen in this human country. He will greet you. Hello, ally.
Good evening.
Rise, vassals.
Thank you for receiving us, my prince.
I'm not your prince. Be careful with your language here. There are still ears that report to higher powers than either of us. And behold, He gestures to the giant red scale. My family's most prized possession. The only thing worth anything in this realm any longer. A scale of Sorrel the Insatiable. Ramul, your ears perk up immediately. This is the capital T, the ancient
Sounds
red
like
dragon.
a counterfeit, but if it's not,
Yes. Legends state that my ancestor was related to a demigod that struck this from him in the First Age, when he was a young, 1,000-year-old ancient red worm. It has been in my family line ever since. Unworkable, but a evidence of how man can still fell great beasts and unknowable, unkillable monsters. I am sure you all understand why I make mention of it. My town is plagued by something. My sheriff slain in the line of duty, trying to find out the killer. We know not if it is a spellcaster who has gone wild, or if it is a creature of unknown origin. I am sure Hogan told you some nonsense about... Well, you know how the small folk are.
His descriptions were lacking detail.
Yes.
How are the small folk?
How?
Yes, you say we know how the small folk are. Please. What do you... How are the small folk?
They imbibe in rumors and superstition, not fact. For a peasant, a goblin is the most monstrous thing they can think of, and anything more is an unknowable horror. Have you heard of a boule?
No, most unknowable horrors I've found to just simply be men.
You must live in cities, then. Out here in the wilderness, this world is a hostile, treacherous, and mysterious place. I do not think a boule did these killings, but a land shark is the closest our sheriff got before he was accidentally slain.
What do you mean? Accidentally?
Yes. To summarize what these killings are... Come with me, actually. And he begins to look.
Eyes cold as a dog's eyes.
Are you men of magic? He will question as he limps down the hallway and leads you to common areas and rooms.
Indeed.
Know you of the silence spell?
He certainly does not.
I understand. Imagine for a moment you walk through a doorway, and suddenly the only thing you can hear is your own heartbeat. Your pulse of blood rushing through your body. And he'll touch Arturio and, like, trace the line of your artery up to your face. This is what you hear. Just the pulsing. You're deaf. Nothing else. This has been described multiple times in the killings. The small folk, call it the silence. give Terrence a minute to write that down. It's good to know at least one of you knows how to write. It bodes well. It is a commonality of the magical killings, but there have been other accidental deaths that have been attributed to this magical force. Again, this silence effect is different than the accidental ones caused by human error. My sheriff, while bearing the body of a man killed by the silence as a funeral for him and his family, got, I don't want to say pushed, because that would, it's quite comical if I think about it. The priest slipped, pushed him into the grave. The tombstone that we had made for the family was pushed in the confusion of the ceremony. Everyone shouted, "The silence, the silence." None of them realizing that they could all hear themselves shout and panic. And then the tombstone, not yet properly set, fell into the grave and crushed my poor sheriff to death. He was my lead investigator. I shall give you his notes.
She'll need to speak to his deputies as well.
None of them remain.
So what law remains here in this town?
I do.
And now us.
Yes. Congratulations, you have all been deputized by me. We don't have badges. I will show you the effects this silence has on a man. And be warned, it is not fun. And he will open the doors to a medical room, or a room that has been turned into a medical room, where you will see an older woman nursing half of a man. A truly wretched state of a human lays on a bed of clean white sheets, his left leg having been entirely amputated, his right arm currently being prepared for amputation. His bones have been crushed, liquefied, and there is a great big, oh god, I'm lacking, what's the name of the medical device that cuts off blood flow to the arm?
Tourniquet.
Tourniquet, thank you. A great big tourniquet has been wrapped around that part of the arm to allow the body to redirect blood flow to other parts. He looks to be on his last legs, and in horrible amounts of pain. Yeah, last leg. You look at a man who's been crushed. Has anyone practiced in medicine?
I believe so.
Proficient, I should say.
And I am as well.
Yes, I am.
Those proficient in
God.
medicine may make separate medicine checks or grant one advantage.
No.
Neither the two shall
think
touch.
I think we both step forward and begin to speak at the same time, and then just kind of look each other in the eye, and then both both false start again simultaneously, and then we both start going into like a line of questioning and examining and looking at notes.
Make me medicine checks. Auspicious.
We wouldn't have done better.
Nope.
With the advantage.
Wouldn't have mattered.
This guy looks like he had a boulder fall on him. Or he got run over by a cart. This is awful.
Okay, can I ask a follow-up question? You said that his bones were crushed,
Yep.
liquefied. Which is it?
So you know how your arm has, like, substance because of your bones?
Yeah?
Imagine it no longer has that substance.
Okay. It's not that his bones are literally liquid,
No.
because then I would...
You wouldn't be able to see them, right?
I wouldn't be like, what the fuck is going on here? Okay.
It is clear that the arm that has been crushed is entering a state of necrosis. And they are quite literally just not cutting it off, because if they do, he will immediately die. And they're waiting for him to recover a little before committing to that. This is a hunter. He was the most recent and... well, he was the most recent victim 5 days ago. His name is Rudolph. He missed out on the past 2 months. And he has been muttering things about something in the mountains. He walked into town, and as he was questioning what everything had happened, walking up to the gate to speak with Logar and myself, he vanished in the mist. The silencing effect disoriented Logar. And then we found him a few score feet away, crushed. Within less than a minute. Maybe a minute. I'm not sure. I was not there myself.
Said Logar was there?
Logar was, yes.
While I am doing this examination, not after, but during, in fact, one of the first things I'll do is I will begin like putting my hands into a kind of prayer position first. But then if you've ever seen the show The Magicians, I'll start doing these like direct geometric like movements with my hands, like wrapping them and moving them at like 90 angles and then tracing fingers. And then I'll lay a hand on him and whisper a word and cast Spare the Dying. Not because it's going to help this man, but just if there is any comfort that I can offer in just kind of like stabilizing any part of his body and offering some ease, I will attempt to do so with this cantrip.
You do so. You will stop him from immediately dying, which is the most he can look forward to for now.
Maybe I should have just let him die, but
he has questions.
I need to examine him, and so we do so. And then, so is he conscious?
He was delirious conscious prior to the Spare the Dying, and as your magic washes over him and you effectively turn off pain receptors to his brain, he will fall into a sleep. Likely the first one he has experienced in 5 days now.
I duck back from this and look around the room. What else is there in this space?
Stealing time.
Aside from the
no, not just. Yeah, I'm just looking around. Like you said, this was converted into a medicinal room. Like, what was it before?
It used to be a parlor. You see a cabinet that presumably has some sort of alcohol in it, but you know, you don't go and open up the liquor cabinet. in front of the guy who is literally talking to you and also the homeowner, right?
There.
There are glass windows as well, which brings in nice light into this room, albeit a heavy, heavy mist.
I walk over to the windows to see the view.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the map. Where are they saying this took place?
Right outside, literally where you guys walk
Road
through.
up to the gate.
Oh fuck. Okay.
Has the I don't know if the man can talk or not. I speak to the prince. Has the man described the thing that happened to him, or does he have any recollection? Did he see any of it?
He left to go bear hunting towards the middle of summer in July. He missed out on these killings and events. When he came back, and from what I understand, he went to go talk to his family who, well, his brother who had fled. And then he went to go speak with Hogan, mentioned something offhandedly about finding some sort of mountain home or mountainous ruin or something. Hogan, every time Hogan retells the story, it's something different, right? It's not as though they committed this conversation to paper. Regardless, he then came to me, presumably to either offer service or ask questions about what the fuck was happening, and as he was walking up to the gate, he called out. My men were bewitched, I suppose, by the silencing effect. Turned to look at him. He was gone. A minute later, he reveals himself once more. Barely alive, crushed.
Yeah, but has he described what happened to him, or is he unable to speak?
You see him as he is, and has been for the past 5 days.
Right. Comatose, unable to speak. Yeah. I was going to ask him, if he can speak, I was going to ask him questions.
Unless
So
you
he's being
have,
tended to. Oh, sorry.
unless you have a way of healing his wounds through magic.
I do not.
Believe that I can. But I don't know if I can restore damage this great.
Are you a healer?
My God gives me some power. I will put my hand on him and try to expend 1 point of lay on hands into this man.
Yes.
Well, as we all know, in
Fucking
5th edition,
cheapskate.
Dungeons and
He's
Dragons.
he's like Salt Bay right there. He's just like 1 point. Hold
This is a
on.
big commitment, John,
Little
because
sprinkle.
I need a
The
long
screen-
rest before I can cure the disease from the mineral water, because it takes 5 points of lay on hands to cure disease. This is a commitment. I'm jumping in on this, both feet.
As you slap this man upside the head for 1 point of lay on hands.
Dude, I'm dealing with diarrhea. I can't commit that much to healing you right now.
True.
We're gonna
Actually,
take our
we are
first break here,
superheroes.
and hopefully
That
this
note.
man will last for 1 minute or so to answer a question or two. Guys, we'll be right back. Woo! That's what everybody heard. Hello! Welcome back to the Mists of Rule. We are carrying on our conversation with a dying man as Terrence, our lead paladin, rubs his hands together and then slaps the unconscious man that good old Arturio, Artie, if you will.
No,
No,
absolutely not.
my brother's name is Artie.
And that is an in-character response. My name is Arturio. Thank you very much.
The dying man sees the ultimate thing he could do and calls out, "Artie, is that you? My brother.
Nope. Not me.
Hold
Not-
my hand. I only have one hand. I'm dying and you need to know the truth about your birth.
What the fuck?
Your
Can you tell us about what attacked you?
Wait, did this just become a we found our dad who left for cigarettes and milk one time?
This guy is younger than you.
Yeah, that's right. Dad? Are you Benjamin Button?
I am connected to the Silver Saintus. I've traveled through time to be here, so that you can kill me, and thus yourselves. This is getting way too meta. Ask your question while I still breathe.
Slap him again. We need a different person to respond.
He goes fully limp.
What did you find in the mountains?
Oh, the mountains. Yes. John's totally checking his notes to make sure that
I thought that was the answer. I found the mountains.
They were there.
I followed a bear track. He goes through like a full minute of exposition before he gets to the point.
Oh no.
Close to the peak, well above the fog, there is a ogre-sized hole within the mountains themselves. I stepped a foot in, saw giant-ass cobwebs of what appeared to be some sort of weird, I don't know, room. There was strange markings on the walls. When I came back to report it, I got.
Can you describe what got you?
No, not by sight anyway. It felt more like I got yanked really high into the sky and then hurled back to the ground. I remember going limp and then shitting myself profusely. I thought I died in that moment, but apparently killing a bunch of bears and having more than 10 hit points lets you survive, sometimes catastrophic damage.
It's been well documented in academics.
Yes. It's horrifying. Oh. My
Can you
prince
describe?
cut off my arm. Hold on, boy, he says. You're jumping the gun, or crossbow.
Can you describe the markings that you saw?
I can't even read my own language. So no. They were emblazoned on stone, though. Not carved, but burned.
Did you touch them before
Yes, I touched everything. I have no impulse control.
You sure you're not his father? As I point to Nick's character.
Son, he calls out.
Striking
what-
character.
In what direction are these mountains?
East and north. You have to go east to avoid the, big ass swamp. Watch out for bears. Oh.
I think he's gone. Do you know?
I mean, passed out from the pain, probably.
Requiescat in pace. I will turn to the nurse. Do we know if he's a man of faith or of science?
What?
Do we know if he is a man of faith or science?
She can hear you, boy.
What is science?
I'll lean over and whisper in this dying man's ear. You lost the game.
Roll initiative. Alright, time to instantly kill you guys with the monster.
That's right. That's just fair.
All right. Okay.
The Lord Ludwig will look to you, or the prince, I should say, and will speak plainly. Are you ready to read the reports of my sheriff and what I have compiled?
Yes.
Yes. Certainly.
Then come with me. And he will take you to his study, slowly, with a slow gait. At his study... yes?
Can I tell a bit about his condition?
He has a limp and he is using a longsword as a cane. It is scabbarded, so that he is not stabbing the floor, but from sight alone, you see nothing immediately wrong with him, but he is clearly concealing whatever injuries he has sustained. Unlike you guys who are wearing short-sleeve shirts for this warm fall day, he is wearing effectively a full bodysuit. Not armored, but, long sleeves. He has gloves on, fully pantsed. No noble would wear shorts in this anytime, ever. It's always slacks or nothing else.
It's slacks or bust.
Yeah. So no.
Okay.
Unless you have some way of perceiving through clothing, in which case.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not a pervert.
We follow
He
him
takes you to the
Follow
study.
him to the study.
Just gonna let that one hang. And Rye, as you enter the study, there's so much wealth on display, Rye. All these books, handwritten. They're each worth so much. If only you knew scholars to sell books to. Oh, well.
Rye doesn't, he's not done much book dealing. He never had a good book fence. I think he tried fencing a book to his brother once, and he was so offended that he's stolen a book that
Oh yeah.
just didn't seem worthwhile.
It was like a picture pop-up book. Look at all these cool images.
This
This
is
is
a
super
Bob
unique.
book. Go sell this to a 3-year-old. If this is a hooked on phonics, I don't need this.
But the Tarrasque pops out of the middle of the page. It's so cute.
You all will be taken to this small study, and on the center of the table, you will find that... Well, rather, first, this is an entirely enclosed room. There are no windows here. It is quite heavy in terms of atmosphere as you enter. This is a journal that has been compiled at first by an actual investigator, a sheriff by the name of... John's checking... Nope, not you. Oh god, please tell me I have his name. Nope, that's the priest's name. That's the Dandy Daffodil. Oh my god, no. Is he unnamed? You guys want to name Ludwig's sheriff? Oh, his name is
Given
Tartan.
the other names.
What?
Tartan.
Tartan? Can you spell that?
Tartan.
Tartan.
As in the
Like tartar sauce.
pattern.
Like Nat Rat backwards?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Nat Rat.
Nat Rat. Sheriff Nat Rat.
Sheriff Tartan. Though I do like Nat Rat.
That's a good one.
I knew you would.
Any time you can add a rat or an animal to a name. Sheriff Tartan will, or rather, his journal will be revealed to you. He will hand this to Terrence immediately, since he was the only one who showed to this man he could read and write, even though Arturio is holding himself and dressed like a scholar. He'll hand this to the paladin. You may
I
read
will
this at your
read it
own leisure.
Leafing through it.
Yeah,
Ignoring
you leaf through it.
Arturio.
It is an account of activities, but no theories about the identity of the entity that is currently known as the Silence. So from August 4th to August 17th, this is when the fog rolled into town, and then the animals began to die in a similar brutalized fashion. He describes that these animals were found as though they had been stricken by a storm of hammers, with many bones broken. That is from the 4th to the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
On the 18th is when the first human slaying took place. A drunken boater who was visiting the Dandy Daffodil was found half in the river on the shore in a similar condition. At first, many people thought he just fell on his own, like while drunk. But the damage was... Nobody heard anything right outside the establishment, which was a concern that Tartan was put on the case of. For those of you who care about moon cycles, because Tartan at one point thought this could be a werewolf, apparently, this was the day after a full moon. Or the day before the full moon, excuse me. On August 19th, another boatsman also died. This barge company was transporting quote-unquote sweet potatoes, in parentheses, yams, to the Dandy Daffodil. His head caved in. This on August 19th is when Tartan actually took the case. The following day, on August 20th, the town drunk Morgith, who was a suspect, was found dead near the lumber mill, his tent having been dyed red during his killing, having quite literally exploded next to it.
He exploded outside his tent,
Yes.
near the lumber mill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, we can just draw these on the map.
Yeah, if you guys want.
If that would be helpful to people.
Go for it.
I can help, or if you guys want to, draw big red X's.
I was gonna make it red X's, yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
So we had 2 next to the Dandy Daffodil. That was August 18th, 19th.
You said there was
then-
one near the docks, or
Yeah, the Dandy Daffodil is right next to the docks.
oh, okay, got you. Understood. Yep, got it.
Yep. Both near the river. Then Morgith was at his tent near the ground. Then a week goes by. So on August 27th, a young woman by the name of Ella went out to fetch water for her ailing mother and never returned. Her body was found, quote-unquote, displayed outside of town by the river, also in a brutalized fashion. Sheriff Tartan notes that being so far next to the river rather than the town's well is confusing. So this red X should be over here.
Got it.
She was found, quote, displayed, you said brutalized fashion?
On display.
Yeah.
What do you mean a brutalized fashion? Is that any different?
Being brutalized to death means you are quite literally beaten to death. to the
Bludgeoning
point-
damage to death.
Yeah.
Okay.
Prior to the term battery being used in common parlance,
Mm.
brutalized was the preferred tone.
Okay.
Or preferred word, I should say.
Was there any notes on why she went to go get water from the river and not the well?
It's a point of mystery. Tartan never figured out why.
Okay.
Mm,
Where
I
does
think I
where
was told a little about that.
is it the mineral water?
We'll have to figure out what's the difference between the well water and the river water.
That was August 27th. On August 30th, Markat the Elder went to sleep on his porch in the afternoon. Markat, for the record, the Elder, he was literally an elderman. He ran the peasant mob, basically, in the day-to-day operations of civilian life. So not like the farming and the civil stuff, right? He fell asleep. He's a 93-year-old man. No big deal. And then, while his family was still inside their house, he disappeared and then was found the following morning a mile away, brutalized to death as well.
That's
Any
like
port-
crossroads over here.
Towards the river,
Towards the river. Okay.
like over here somewhere.
You got it. Working on it. Done. Yep.
Are you guys ready for the next killing?
Yes.
This one was the first, I suppose, daytime attack? Question mark. So, the baker's daughter, from this mill over here, was helping unload a cart. Her father turned around. She was gone. And she was found halfway to the lumber mill. Boop. Around, yes, here. In this forest, impaled on a tree.
Oh my god.
Pulverized and scattered in this area.
What
This
day
is.
was that?
I'm sorry?
What day was that?
September 2nd. The day of the new moon. For those who care. The baker's daughter was Ludwig's last straw of alright, time to conduct martial law. Everyone is getting put on lockdown until we figure out what's going on. Normal accidents happening along the river. It happens, sucks to suck. But this is clearly a message.
What? This was on the 1st?
2nd of September.
Thank you.
The investigation continues for 3 days without incident. On September 5th, a pair of lumberjacks by the name of Brugo and Kaut go missing inside the forest. They too are impaled within the trees south, technically off this map, but you could put it over here if you wish. Apparently, they had been passed through and searched for before anyone thought to look up for several hours. Nobody noticing them in the heavy fog and mist. It is... Tartan specifically notes that they were poorly impaled. They literally shook the tree until they freed the bodies. So no one hung them up, as it were. It looked more like they got caught in the branches.
Were they also, received bludgeoning damage as well? That's just because again, in times like these, there could be copycat killers, right?
Uh-huh.
You know?
For sure. The next day, Phoenix, another lumberjack, organizes his 7 friends to go fishing while the lumber mill is shut down for the previous day's killings and an investigation is being taken place. 2 per rowboat, they stay within a few dozen feet of each other and strike casual conversation over the morning when Phoenix and his friend Groton suddenly stop responding in the fog. After less than a minute of rowing, the others find Groton calling for Phoenix, who has gone missing in the fog. Groton is the first witness to survive the silence, naming it as such as he states that, while shouting and screaming for help with Phoenix to no avail, he turned around for less than a few seconds and his friend vanished. As a note, Phoenix's body was found on the 10th, on the other side of the river. Over here.
Is Groton still around?
We'll get to him.
Really quickly. So Brugo and Cult,
Yep.
they went missing on the 5th, and they were found on the...
They were found later that day.
Oh, okay. I thought they had been searched for multiple days.
Nope. Just people were looking for them. Somebody looked up and saw them.
Next.
On the 9th, so the day before Phoenix was found, people are fleeing and a boat accident took place, causing several injuries and one death. This is noted that it wasn't... this was clearly not related to the magical killer, known as the Silence, but it was blamed on Phoenix specifically for some reason. Apparently a panic set foot, pulleys got pushed, a boat fell, and quite literally someone just got crushed by a strong gust of wind, effectively.
Sorry, it was blamed on Phoenix, who was missing at the time?
Yes.
I'm gonna put that one as a circle. It's like tangentially, just like in the guy's notes at the docks here.
So many things had happened to the river. Phoenix was missing at the time, so nobody knew he was dead. People thought he was the killer doing this thing. He lured a bunch of people out into the water for no real reason other than to go fishing and burn a day. Tartan isn't sure exactly where this rumor came from, that Phoenix was the guy. And then the next day they fucking found him while searching for the corpse still. So who is to say? After Phoenix went missing, people started fleeing the town as well. And this will be a trend.
Wow. Okay, so almost 3 weeks after it starts, people start fleeing.
Yep. 4 days, so September 14th, after Phoenix's body was discovered, his family was found dead in their home. This is the first death to be recorded as inside of a structure. Not just a tent, but like inside a house. This house was it's a standard shack of 2 bedroom, 1 common room. His wife and 2 children were both brutalized as well.
Does he have anything in the notes about damage done to the home?
Yes, he does. Nobody heard anything, even though these shacks are pressed incredibly close together, which is the first giveaway that this was magic related rather than a vindication killing. The windows were all broken from the outside in, or the inside out, excuse me. So all the glass was on the outside of the house. The entire furniture was spread out throughout the entire room. Tables were broken, chairs were thrown, anything delicate was smashed.
So nothing precision. More like a force of nature.
Indeed. Tartan describes it as a scene of mass destruction, quote unquote.
Poltergeisty.
September 15th is the day Tartan died, and Ludwig took over this journal. So the day after Phoenix's family was killed. This happened during the funeral proceedings, when the priest who was conducting the burials suddenly went mute, causing a mass panic for the 100-some-odd attendees. Panic caused an evacuation. Tartan fell into the grave, as Ludwig described. The resting mount of a casket / Ludwig described it as a headstone, but it was actually Phoenix's wife, Armala, whose casket quite literally just crashed into poor old Ludwig.
You mean Tartan?
Yep.
Yeah.
The tragic series of events being deemed accidental by Ludwig, who literally writes this, so he's talking in third person now. Any attempt to calm the people after the clear accident was unsuccessful. The word curse was first recorded this day as well, as anyone who went or was connected to the Phoenixes was suddenly stricken, let's call it, by this dastardly death entity. We're almost into October, but first is September 24th, a week of peace. Many believing that Phoenix's family's curse had finally been put to rest, another killing takes place of Acerrian, Accerian, the priest who ran the service. He is slain at his altar in the church, the Shrine of Elda, which is the god he worshipped, or goddess, excuse me. He apparently just goes, no way, excuse me. He doesn't go missing. Apparently the effigy of his own goddess fell on him. None of his acolytes heard the noise, so it was attributed to the silence, but it was not. His body only suffered one injury, which was the shrine. So Ludwig puts a note there. 5 days later, on the 29th, a magistrate and exorcist arrive from the lower lands to make an independent investigation of the situation. After checking into the Dandy Daffodil and making introductions with Ludwig, both go missing in the fog while making way to the scene of Acerrian's death. Both are assumed dead or missing, but who knows?
And today is October
25th.
Oh my god. Okay, so it's been a month.
It's been over 2 months. On October 4th, a carpenter and his family are found brutalized in their home, much the same as Phoenix's was. 5 people died. However, one survived. Miraculously, a 2-month-old named Char was found in the fireplace, having been swaddled by a bunch of blankets and other things. Unfortunately, Ludwig puts down Char had nothing to report on the subject. Uh, 5 days later, on October 9th, there was a house fire. It went unnoticed for several minutes, but it was somewhat contained due to the humidity and the mist. No one's sure exactly what happened, but 2 people's remains were found in the wreckage. Olena, the daughter of the 87-year-old granddaughter of the 87-year-old, was the wife of a Celt, if we remember him. She went to go live with Grandpa when she died. This was effectively the last straw. Almost everyone fled the town during the week after her death. On October 14th, a traveling bard wanders into town wanting to privately investigate it and make a story out of it, the cursed town of Rule. He checks in, makes an appointment with Ludwig, And then never arrives. Body never found. 1,000 GP bounty was soon released. This is when Ludwig called for assistance for all of the adventurers in the land. And then finally was Rudolph on October 20th, which we have been over, but happened right outside the gate. And now the grim business of all the deaths have been conveyed.
Besides a Syrian who had one injury from the effigy falling on him, and the instances where the bodies were burned in the house fire, is there anyone whose body did not show signs of that brutalization you described?
The people who got caught in the fire, then the guy who got crushed by a boat, and then of course Tartan himself.
Tartan was smashed by a casket.
Casket, yeah.
Right. He fell in the grave. That's right. Okay. And the silence seems to be a common thread among almost all of these deaths, other than, I think, the one at the pier. Just there's an absence of sound even when, like, people are chatting. Or
during the first murder, the thing that set this off, or rather not set this thing off, but the first human slain only had one injury as well. It was his buddy that got brutalized the following day.
Okay.
So one of the August 18th, 19th guys had a battered head, not a broken body.
Okay. There was the baker's daughter who was helping unload a cart. She was with her father. They were unloading it together.
Yeah.
And
he literally turned around for, he describes it as a few seconds, and she was just gone.
Okay. Was there a silence described by him?
Nope.
That was September 2nd.
Yep.
And then my last question for now, rolling all the way back to when all these animals are getting killed between the 4th and the 17th. Are those like out in the woods? Are they like farm animals?
They were part of the ranches here.
Okay, and no sound. No sounds made during those, or at least no one noticed what was happening.
Nobody noticed them, no.
Okay. And, sorry. Last follow-up. After the 17th of August, were there any animals killed?
There were no animals left to be killed.
Ah, okay. All domesticated animals were killed.
Aside from chickens.
Okay. Thanks.
Notably, no chickens died in all of this, except ones that were used for food by people. Take that as you will, I guess.
Is there a raven god, John, of some kind messing about here? Just kidding.
Any questions from anyone else?
There are many points to potentially investigate, but yeah, what are your all thoughts on this? One of the things is we should probably tie ourselves off with each other, and like, if you can just go missing, that's terrifying.
Are you fucking kidding me? If you get flown up into the air, I don't want to be yanked with you.
I mean, I'll throw you up in the air right now.
But did you say that was his name Groton, the guy, the only one who had like sort of seen something happen and survive? Did he stay? Is he still around?
We never
No,
did
he
hear of
fled.
his death. He fled. Okay.
He fled. He's not. He went. He's not. in this
So,
town. Okay.
much like how the baker just turned around, his daughter was gone, it was very much the same for him. Of Phoenix was just gone, and as he yelled for help, he was muted, effectively.
Is the baker still around?
Nobody's checked.
All right. That's my first step. Is let's go to the bakery.
We should go to the bakery. I want to look at the well. And we should look at the shrine.
What is the water different? Yeah. The shrine is also. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I think another thought I have is to go to. Well, yeah, okay. So one thought that's occurring to me is it seemed like someone was either practicing on animals or was specifically starting there to eliminate the food supply as a deterrent for the people here.
For what?
Wonder, like
Prince,
to
do you have any
get
enemies?
to get people to leave. Who? The Sword Prince? Enemies?
No, the
surely
prince that we're currently with.
Yeah, no. He like this is the sword. What is this? The Sword Nation? The Sword Nation attacked?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the royalty of this whole country. Their whole shtick is sword play.
My last name is Sword, so
As-
what's your point?
As a quick note, the word prince does not have the same connotation to royalty in this country.
Oh,
It
I'm
is
sorry.
more like a provincial lord rather than a
Oh,
son
like
of the
a
king. Their,
like a
their
baron
king,
or
their king is a meritocracy based on violence, right? So
Okay.
Oh, the best.
yeah. So anyone
Okay.
who is given the title of prince could go and challenge the king for the title, basically.
but you have to have that title.
You have to have the title.
Okay.
You can't just be some random schmuck who walks into the country.
You kill a bunch of people and you're given the credential prince, which proves you've killed a bunch of people
Yeah,
or are really good at swordplay.
If you are
and that
very
credential
good-
allows you. Okay.
yeah. This is a very martial state, for sure.
It's like the Jason Statham movie where you keep what you kill. It's called Passenger, right?
The Chronicles of Riddick? What?
That's.
I'm making a
Maybe
joke
Vin
in the
Diesel and not
completely
Jason
wrong
Statham.
way. No, it's
I
not
think he meant
Statham, it's
Jason
Vin Diesel.
Bateman is what he meant.
Jason Bateman. Oh, that's right. In the movie Wall-E. Oh, that's right. True. Anyways.
True.
No, I turn to the prince and say, like, who are your enemies?
Monsters.
Like, blink at him twice. Go on. And
Dragons.
when did the scale arrive?
It's been with my family for generations. So
Yeah, but at this location.
when I did,
Okay. So
which
in
was
the spring. Okay. I mean, if its arrival had something to do with this, then that would be interesting, but it does not, so it's not interesting.
Yes.
Hmm.
Should we investigate around?
If this was a target on me, chances are it would be a little more direct. I am
I don't know.
surprised
Death is easy.
whatever has been killing my people has not gone after anyone who is magical or capable of violence. It has targeted, like a coward, defenseless people, civilians, the elderly, children, as well as drunks and the inebriated. Or people on water, which, let's be real, humans are not good at fighting on top of.
Has it targeted any of your household staff?
No.
Are they all magical or capable of violence?
My footman is. He professed to me on your way inside that he almost strangled you to death.
He certainly could have tried.
Do you want me to set up that match? We're a very martial society.
My
Setting
Great
cool.
young Rye.
You're a martial society. Most of your society is entail and left.
Are you not a native to my country? Why did you bow before me?
Oh, I just figured I'd blend in.
Alright, well you've dropped the ruse, I suppose.
I just won't withhold my curiosity.
Okay.
Brought us in to solve a problem. That's the only way I know how to solve problems.
Okay. So it's been 5 days since the last killing. And they're happening.
Well, technically, he's still not dead.
He's right here in front of us.
Since the last attack.
Thank you.
With the arm.
It matters for the record.
We're in the study, y'all. We're not in the
Yeah.
surgery. Unless we had him brought in here.
I misspoke. No, I misspoke.
Here, let me just cut a section of my floor downstairs so we can talk to the guy.
Okay. I'm sure I'll puzzle over this during some downtime. But yes, perhaps we should check the bakery, look for the baker, perhaps go to the shrine, but the walk has me nervous.
Notably, 2 people went to that shrine to speak with the priest and then never returned.
Yeah,
The
that's the double X on
magistrate
the road
and
there.
an exorcist.
But they never made it to the shrine.
We
We don't
Or
know
you-
what happened to them.
Have any of the acolytes of the shrine come into town this month?
Yes, to leave. They took the sign of their priest getting crushed by the statue of their goddess as the sign to get out while the getting was good. There's very few other signs that your goddess has forsaken you, other than an effigy of her literally killing you.
So you believe there's no one at the shrine?
There
now.
might not be. There could be
Hmm.
squatters or monsters or... You know how goblins would be.
Yes, I do. You've faced goblins settling this land?
Goblins do not settle lands.
No, but they've been a nuisance to you.
Inhabit.
Nuisance everywhere.
Any other monsters been a nuisance to you?
No.
Understood. The lumber jacking that's been going on around here.
Yes.
Perhaps you're familiar with the more recent chopping that's been happening. What was the last area to be chopped? Or an area kind of expanded into, perhaps in August?
The mill had just finished being set up by July. So, concentrations of the trees around there. The
see.
mill itself is a how do we say this? Man-powered bandsaw that would ease the processing of wood, that would allow us to construct better buildings than the shacks and lodges you see before you. This, and he gestures to his grand manor, was partially conjured by a wizard as a stepping stone in the right direction. When I received my title in this land.
Sorry, what was summoned?
My
Part of
house that you were in.
Your house. Oh, okay.
It was partially summoned. Assembly was required.
That same wizard summoned the daffodil, which is also made of the same types of tiles.
No, I'm told they shipped that building here.
Is his limp consistent? Is it convincing? Okay.
No one has yet to just ask him about that as a note.
That would be rude.
It would be extremely rude.
Yeah.
John, have you seen Twin Peaks?
The first 2 seasons.
Okay. We should go check out the lumber mill. I'm metaing the storyteller.
Sarah Palmer? Is that her
Yep.
name?
Mm-hmm.
Laura.
I think her twin or her cousin.
Laura Palmer is the inciting murder, though, of the show.
Yes, Laura Palmer, and then
Was there a Sarah
anyway.
Palmer?
There was a
You know, the actress Sarah Paulson.
I don't remember. That show's so
Sarah
fucking
was her mom. Sarah
Okay.
Palmer was the mom. Anyway. Okay.
Did she die at the lumber mill in the first episode?
Her body was found on the beach, I think near the lumber mill.
This is getting too meta. I don't remember my
Okay.
Twin Peaks lore. It's been
Now
literally
that
years.
this is the vibe, I wish I had gone what a damn fine yam at the beginning of the of this episode. But,
There's a fish in my mineral water.
Poor Yamsy.
All right.
All right, to the bakery.
Terrence is getting antsy. He wants to go investigate something.
Let's go investigate. Where do we go?
No. Terrence,
Let's
I'm
try-
calling you.
Do we split
Yeah.
the party?
Fuck no.
We can
No,
cover more
no.
ground that way, guys.
I think John has done the one thing a DM has always struggled to do, and that is effectively convince the party they should not split up.
What?
At least for now.
Although I would no, that's okay. Let's go to the bakery.
I agree. I think the bakery's a good start.
Before we leave, I have one question for you, Prince. Do you have some twine or
Twine?
yarn? Yeah.
Yes. Not on me.
Do you have a
Right,
big jar of
but-
Skittles?
I need some twine.
Speak with my footmen on your way out.
Thank you.
You were
I
given
speak with.
a thing of yarn.
Okay, yarn, great. Everybody gets to hold on to some yarn, preferably wrap it around your finger as we walk places, so that, like, you don't just turn around and lose somebody.
Okay.
As I believe that was one of the stories, was turn around and lose somebody.
I'll tie the front end to the back of my belt
Great.
and lead the party towards the bakery after they get tied up.
There you go. We have yarn between us. It'll snap easily, but at least you'll know.
Is anyone proficient in performance?
Am I?
We aren't charisma people.
Says
I
the
mean,
17
negative
charisma.
All right.
I'm not.
Arturio is going to nervously whistle constantly anytime we step outside. And as we head out, his whistling is not bad, despite the clear audible nervousness.
Okay.
Arturio, you do realize we can't sneak up on anybody if you make all that noise. As his shield clatters into a tree and his chainmail bounces back and forth.
Alright, can I turn off my... he's just gonna keep whistling, like, despite you, Oh, here we go.
Oh, we only heard a tiny
It
bit.
does not. Yeah, it does not
No.
go through.
There's no way
um,
Discord's gonna let you whistle.
I turn
John,
off...
what do we see as we approach the bakery?
You see a big old blue building. This blue building has great big tile on it. You see a great big mill that is not too far away. This mill is currently... The wind is not currently strong enough to actually process any grain into flour. But there is indeed a great big storage building. However, no smoke is coming from the chimneys.
Have we seen any crop fields here?
Everything's imported, which is not strange in a settlement.
Fair
Just
enough.
getting set up, right?
Sure.
Yeah, under a year. Yeah.
Are there any signs of like vegetation, or are the paths overgrown? Is there a fine layer of dust on everything? Like,
You have not yet entered the building.
Bang, bang, bang.
You knock upon the door, and you hear behind
Oh,
it...
pardon, John. I switched to singing bang, bang on the door, baby. Bang, bang. Tin roof.
Easier.
John,
rusted.
I knock on the door.
You knock on the door, you shove Arturio, also known as Artie, to the side, tripping him,
That's right.
bullying him like the nerd he is.
well, I crouch down so we can tabletop him.
Perfect.
Yes.
You double team.
Whoa!
Wham.
I just had these dry cleaned, you asshole.
The yarn goes everywhere. Spaghetti falls out of Arturio's pockets.
The fuck? Where'd that come from? I am hungry.
You open up the door, or rather, the door opens up, and before you is the angriest baker you've seen in your lives, I suppose. He is quite literally holding a bag of flour that is, sacked up, ready to rock and roll, and it looks like he's about to hurl it at you when he realizes you're not squatters trying to steal a shit.
My friend, don't waste your good flour. We're here to on peaceful terms.
Who are you?
Deputy Arturio, at your service.
Hello, deputy.
We're here to speak with you. Sorry, go ahead, brother.
No, please, Art. We'll go right ahead.
It's Arturio. We're here to speak with you about the passing of your daughter.
Come inside. Things
Thank
are
you.
listening out there.
We are very sorry for your loss.
Not as
We'll
sorry
step
as
in-
it will be when I find it.
I'll step in and we'll close the door behind us.
You will see that every entranceway, there is flour scattered. The windows are open, or cracked open, so someone can enter. But there is a fine layer of powdered, wheat that is here on the floor. You can see that there is a big old kitchen area in the big back where it's all brickwork, and above it, a hastily constructed loft that was once used just to store bags of wheat or bags of flour is now effectively being used as landing pad for explosives. And by explosives, I mean literal sacks, like pouches of flour. As we all know, in real life, flour is incredibly combustible, and this is a massive hazard. If anyone opens a flame up in here, eating casually, there is a non-zero chance you all explode right now.
What? I did not know this.
It's very true.
Oh my god.
Look up flower fires. They're incredibly flashy. Can cause
Flower?
severe Yeah.
Flour dust can be more explosive than gunpowder when
That's
finely ground.
That's right.
What the?
All the surface area.
Highly susceptible to moisture, but yeah, if it's actually dry.
Right. Very dry, very flammable.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Your deputies, right? This madman. This guy is clearly on the verge of some sort of psychotic break, if he is not already beyond it. I think it's a wizard. I think a wizard killed my daughter.
What makes you come to that conclusion?
Who else could be invisible, teleport my daughter half a mile away, scatter her across the entire forest, basically? It has to be a wizard. There's no other explanation, surely.
You know,
So
there
I've
was a
been
wizard
looking
on
for
site.
footprints. I've been trying to beckon him to come inside. There's nothing left in this town to take. He's coming from flour. Why else would he kill my daughter? He knows that flour immediately invalidates invisibility. You just throw a packet of flour at someone and suddenly they're visible.
Clever. A sound strategy.
The moment he sets foot in here, we're both going up in smoke.
Right.
What if he can levitate?
Dude.
What?
What? There was a wizard on site who literally summoned a portion of the castle. That wizard would be powerful enough to fly. Therefore, you will have other problems besides just footprints if it is in fact a wizard.
If he can fly and be invisible, he can burn my house down from outside.
That's right.
But he wants something. Why else would he kill Pella? Pella,
Pella,
my girl.
your daughter?
Yes.
Any relation to Ella, the
Are you
young
making a
woman
joke
that-
out of my child's death?
No, there was another woman killed a few days before your daughter named Ella.
It's a common name.
Yes.
What do you want me to say?
But Pella is not a common name, and I bet your daughter was not an average one at all, was she?
Art, can you not see that this man is grieving?
I'm asking him about his daughter.
What do you want? Here,
Uh,
take this. And he just hands each one of you a purse of powder, a finely
you.
grained flour.
How did you know I was going to ask this? You were a
Well,
genius, sir.
We'll use this to look for invisible wizards. Thank you. Thank you
Sure.
very much for your help.
Sprinkle it on the floor. Scatter it. You'll find footprints.
When was this flour milled? Has the mill been running?
By hand. And you watch as he just rips off his sleeves and it's just pure muscle. He's been moving a literal mill just like like Arnold Schwarzenegger from Conan the Barbarian.
there is a detail. We were going through the sheriff's notes, and there was a detail that could be very useful to our investigation that
Poor
may have
Turan.
been overlooked. I'm sorry?
Poor Turan. He didn't deserve what he
Yeah.
got.
Pardon?
No, none of them did.
No one
Did they? When you and your daughter were unloading the cart before she was attacked, were you speaking with her? Could you hear her? Do you remember the audio, the sounds at the time of the event, the attack?
I walked inside carrying a bag of grain into my storeroom.
Hmm.
She was right behind me, and then she wasn't. There was no sound. I heard nothing. I turned around and she was gone. I thought she was playing at first.
I see. That
But
must
then
have
they
been.
found the sack of grain along the road.
That must have been very difficult. Would you describe there being a sudden absence of sound, or
No.
you know?
I could hear
Okay.
fine.
Hmm. I see.
I didn't hear her, though.
She have any hobbies?
He just starts crying. Just immediately. He's like crying
I-
with his eyes open, unblinking. You watch his flower that's just been congealed on his face makes incredibly...
His face tears.
Mud
Yeah.
turns to mud.
Yeah.
Drywall
I-
mud
I-
on his face.
You need to
I
leave.
roughly pat his shoulder.
If this wizard
other
shows
thing-
up and you don't kill him, I will.
Yeah, you have first dibs.
You know it, friend.
I'm gonna rip
One
him
of the
apart.
things that I found interesting upon arriving at this town is that the mist smells like blood. Has it always smelled like that?
He stares at you for a long time. Blood's been in the air since August.
Okay.
I taste it with every lick of my tongue.
Yeah.
Ever since those pigs died. It's all in the air. I wouldn't be surprised if this wizard's flying around above us, hidden in the mist.
Oh, is this
This
just a
stench.
giant gaseous form from a giant wizard?
What else could do this?
Hmm.
Who else could do this?
Something very old and very powerful, perhaps.
Like what?
Primordial dragon.
It's gonna be hard to kill a dragon. I'm sort of relying on fire.
Yeah, I don't think flour is gonna kill a dragon. Maybe if you keep milling. Stay busy. Stay
if it's
active.
safe-
You just don't. Art. You just don't have a good enough imagination. Enough flour will kill anything.
I agree. I think your strategy is
Um,
sound, sir. I have not yet heard your name.
I don't have a name anymore.
Oh,
Can we call
And I
you
will
Wizard
call you-
Bane?
Ooh. He who seeks vengeance. Should we find this wizard, can we count on your aid?
Of course. I will literally tear off his face with my hands.
There's no
Let's
doubt.
stay vigilant, my friend. When we find this wizard, we will get you.
He offers to shake your hand.
I will gladly accept it.
What's your strength score?
16.
Alright, I need you to make me a strength saving throw.
Powder goes everywhere as your hands
Ooh.
clap.
He's
I'm
gonna
rolling
brutalize
low.
your hand. Oh shit. Is that a dirty 20?
That is a dirty 17, sir.
Oh! My dice was cocked. Fuck. Oh.
Go again.
You will grab hold of his hand. Immediately, Terrence, you know that this guy either because of the extreme psychological and emotional turmoil, or the fact that he is just has giant blood in him. This guy has surpassed 20 strength. You realize immediately that this guy, when he says he's going to peel a man's face off, he wasn't kidding. It looks like he could actually rip Arturio's scalp off with his bare hands.
I will look into his eyes, seeing the strength in front of me, knowing that I see an ally, and give him a nod. We will avenge your daughter, or die trying.
He hugs you. It's the saddest, scariest hug in your life.
I'm a little bit freaked out, but I'd rather this man be my ally than my enemy, for sure.
I think we'll cut to saying farewell at the outside of the bakery, unless there's anything else. The door will close, and I'll just look at the little bag of flour that he gave me, and I'm just kind of got a bit of shock and awe on my face. Who does anyone approach me?
I will. I'll be like, you gonna keep that?
Yeah, what he says about ground flour and its properties to catch fire, he's right. And I'm just, you can buy flour for 2 copper. This much flour for less. I've made so much alchemist fire at the academy, and that stuff cost 50 gold a vial. It's insane. The man's a fucking genius.
You see how wet it is out here with this mist? It's not going to go up in flames. In this house, maybe, but not even as soon as we step outdoors.
I will hand you the pouch of flour and gesture at the dirt in front of us and say, "You want to throw it?"
I
No,
mean,
this is gold.
it's going.
Can identify
if I
an
throw-
invisible wizard. I'm gonna keep it.
This
Yeah, if I throw
flour.
it now, it won't explode. You have to ignite it with some type of flame.
If you think about it, this flour is worth 50 gold.
I tie yarn off to him, and then I tie yarn off on the other three, on the
And
other
we
two,
will-
and say we should go.
And we'll move on.
Utilizing yarn, utilizing flour, there are many mysteries in this town. We will solve more of them next time on Mists of Rule. Thank you all so much for joining us on this first session. I hope you all had a wonderful time. We learned a lot about our characters today. Why don't you guys go ahead and hit level 2 for us?
Booyah!
And I multi-class.
I'm not going to stop you, but I will warn you against it.
Okay.
How do I level up?
So, Andy, at the top of your character sheet, right by your class and level, there should be a little red button.
Huh?
That's the Character Mancer button. You can auto level up,
This
and
is
it'll.
better.
He can't hear you, or he doesn't care.
Level.
No, I heard him whispering.
All right.
Unbelievable.
Everyone, I must ask you now, do we wish to roll for hit points in this campaign or take the average?
Roll.
Roll. I'm not a
I'm
punk.
Alright, everybody roll. We all do
Wait.
the same thing, so no one
Wait,
can
what's my
complain.
con score?
I want Andy to roll for me.
What am I? Hang on a
Oh,
second.
hell yeah.
In your character sheet, do you see how underneath Rogue HP, there's a 5 and then a roll button and an average?
Yeah, I gotta leave Character Mancer level up. Hang on a second.
Well, yeah, that's where I'm at for you.
Hey, there we go.
Nice.
Oh, shit.
Wait, how do I get out of the?
No, don't get out. Just use the character mancer. It's
Okay,
under
go
there.
to levels.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
go to levels. And there should be an HP section where it can.
Oh,
there's a button for
got
roll
it.
or average. Hey,
Hey.
not
You
That's
rolled
bad.
average, hell yeah.
Oh,
Of
Eric.
course.
Eric.
I was on the wrong seed. See, I wanted Andy to roll mine for me.
I was
I
gonna
knew
let
it.
him.
Yeah. I fucked up, John.
You fucked up. You jumped the gun. So, Andy, as a rogue at level 2, you get this thing called Cunning Action. All characters get a free action, a regular action, a bonus action, and a reaction on top of movement per turn. Bonus actions are the usual class spice, where you can just do an extra thing. Rogues have arguably the best one. Cunning Action is something incredibly useful, and I highly recommend you look at it, as well as all the things it will let you do. But
Take a bonus action of your turns in combat. This action can be used to take a dash, disengage, or hide action.
Indeed.
Those are all normally require your full action to do.
Right.
We will do leveling stuff off stream, and then next week we will come back with our level 2 characters, and move on with our wonderful little adventure of murders, mysteries, and Martians? What? Mars attacks?
And flower.
And flower. We love it. We will be seeing you guys this time next week. Everyone, have a lovely afternoon, evening, wherever you are, but we gotta head on out. Bye.
Bye.